I had one wish. All right, reason why we're doing that. Reason why Spinoni came back was during the break we were talking about, Taylor Swift and the Kardashians and Beyonce and Ray J. And it was just like, look, man, when the Kardashians move on from a guy, their fan base cancels that dude. Like Ray J hasn't been the same post-Kardashian. Tristan Thompson hasn't been the same post-Chloe. I guess he's still trying to hang around.
Was Ray J ever like
pre-Ray J?
A-list?
No, he
like
wasn't
Beyonce's an A-lister.
He wasn't A-list, but boy, he certainly isn't what he is now.
Okay.
He was elevated a little bit because he was Brady's
I think the
brother.
common denominator amongst Ray J, Tristan Thompson, Ryan Humphries, like B and lower.
Chris Humphries,
excuse me.
Yeah,
B and lower.
Since his 82-day marriage with Kim.
Do you know what I mean?
Like think of Kanye post Kim. Oh, yikes.
I mean, even Travis Barker is the most accomplished person, and you don't know who that is, but
no, I do know. He dates Courtney.
Yeah, but do you know what he's like?
He's like a musician, right?
Yeah, see, he's very popular amongst the rock scenes. But again, he's like a legitimate, was a big artist with multiple big hits.
Yeah, well, let's get George Kontos on the line. Let me tell you, on the golf course, he hits Bob's. I saw him at Presidio Friday afternoon, Celebrity Golf Classic, thrown by a boy, Charlie Boots. And then, of course, got the news that Gabe Kapler was let go before the Dodgers series began. So good morning, George. We haven't really talked about it, but it's kind of driving me crazy, the Swifties. I don't want to get canceled here, but are you a Swiftie, George? Be careful. Be careful.
I wouldn't call myself a Swiftie, but I definitely have some of her songs in my Spotify playlist.
I'm not mad at that.
She apparently is the most Spotify streamed artist and followed artist in all of the Spotify platform. But I don't know. That's not the end all be all.
Yeah. I'm not mad at that. It's just, I just don't get it, but we move on. I don't want to spend too much time on that because I know you got things to do, George. Good morning, and thanks for joining us. Thoughts on Kapler being let go? Let's just start right there. As Farhan's going to speak in a couple hours here down at Oracle Park, I'm going to go attend that bad boy. Your thoughts on Gabe Kapler being let go 3 games before the season was over?
Well, I think there's one of those situations where the information that the decision had been made might have been leaked. So I think they were kind of hands tied behind their backs just a little bit with having to make a move. But, as Farhan said, they wanted to do it just so they could move ahead on a clean slate. There always has to be a scapegoat when a team isn't playing as well as it's viewed as they should. And unfortunately, that happens to be the manager a lot of the time. And we can by no means blame everything that went wrong on the Giants season on Gabe Kapler. But he was just the guy that kind of had to take the blame, unfortunately.
Well, can we acknowledge? I get it. He's probably not the greatest. I'm not here to defend Gabe Kapler's, business, baseball acumen or any of that stuff. But all his principles are the ones that Farhan shares. We all agree that the opener is not his idea. The lineup changes, the subbing in slates in certain situations, all comes from up top. So to me, if you're rejecting Gabe, I understand, but aren't you also, as an ownership group, rejecting Farhan? Philosophically?
I think it was very telling when Farhan said that they need to have some sort of differentiating opinion. So, Gabe and Farhan made those decisions together, and it was one of those things where you're either going to have both of them go together, or they're going to take a new manager who comes in and try and work together.
Well, okay, so let's be realistic here. Your top 10 players in terms of payments this year: Jock Peterson, Conforto, Crawford, Alex Wood, Manaea, Stripling, Rogers, Wilmer, Flores, Yastrzemski, Logan Webb, and Slater. Okay? I can make the argument 3 or 4 of these guys actually had career years this year, and that's not good enough. None of those guys that I'm listing outside of Logan Webb is a everyday player for any of the playoff teams. I actually think they kind of overachieved a little, and I don't think that's a hot take.
No, I mean, I can't disagree with you. I think the thing that has made the Giants organization what the Giants organization is over the past 4 decades is you've had a superstar to root for always. And it seemed like that lineup this year just didn't have that guy, that staying power in the middle. The guy, I mean, Buster Posey was the most sold jersey for the Giants this year. And I think that they're going to look at ways to get back to having a lineup that you could have 5 or 6 consistent guys in every single day. The platoon situation under Farhan, I think we've established, is not going to fully go away, but I think you have to have some consistent players in there that fans can come to the ballpark and try and get behind on a day-to-day basis.
I'm with the George Kontos, analyst on Giants pre- and post-game on NBC Sports Bay Area. Does a hell of a job. Love his breakdowns on the Giants, and of course won a World Series with the Giants back in 2012. And of course he hits bombs on the golf course. We'll end with that. But when you look at this roster here, you brought up the Buster Posey jersey sale. I guess that's the first step, right? They have to get a big name. Do you think Farhan understands that now? Saying that, boy, I got to get a superstar at least to get the fans back, because that's the most disappointing aspect to me this season is that the fans just stopped going. They're 17th in attendance, Kontos. When you were playing with the Giants, the place was packed. You couldn't get a ticket.
I mean, I mentioned this on the broadcast. We sold out 555 straight home games. That's 7 straight years. And granted, winning caused a lot of that, but I think that there definitely needs to be a superstar in San Francisco. We're a top 5 market. This is a team that has a very rich history. There are guys that are part of that history around all the time, and I think moving forward there needs to be, some sort of integration between the champions blood that we have and the new regime, so to speak. I think all of it needs to be put together moving forward, because this is an organization that superstars should want to come and play for and ingrain their own part of it in the history.
Is it going to be a tough sell with the way they play baseball, with the philosophy of the platooning and the opener? How do you sell that to a star? How do you sell that to free agents here to come play in this organization, George?
Well, you know what? It's funny you mentioned that. I was at Mario Alioto's 50-year celebration last Thursday, and he took the stage and he said something that really stuck with me. He said, "Tell the fans what they want to buy and not what you want to sell." And I really took that to heart, because the fan base is who you always have to appease to. They're the ones that are going to have the positive sentiment or the negative sentiment. And I think that there really needs to be a differentiating of opinions. And, Farhan's got the way that he's comfortable doing it. And I think that you have to have guys sitting around the round table with differentiating opinions who are going to try and put the best product on the field. Superstars, I think, is, maybe at least one. You got to get somebody that you can buy jerseys who you can plug into the middle of the lineup. I also think that the opener situation, it really hindered them this year, having only 2 bona fide starters and then 3 openers throughout the course of the majority of the year. And they almost made the playoffs until the very end with that strategy. I just don't think that's the most favorable way to go about it.
Are they closer to a World Series today than they were when Farhan took over in November of 2018?
I personally don't think so, no. I mean, I think you had what happened in 2021. Farhan and Gabe were huge parts of that. Guys had really good years. There was a little bit more of a bona fide lineup that you saw every day. I think that you got to go back to the drawing board and see what gives you the best chance to get back to the postseason year in and year out after this season.
If you could get truth serum into either one of these guys, Larry Baer or Farhan Zaidi, what's the question you would like to ask them?
I think the question is, what you do moving forward, how you rectify what happened this year and try to make sure that it doesn't happen again, because this team, when it was firing on all cylinders, we saw how good it could have been. But when one of those, breaks in the cogs happened, it seemed like everybody fell apart. And then you can't really do much about what the offense did. That was just from July 18th. They were last in almost every offensive category. That was just one of those fall off the cliff type situations. But I would ask what you do moving forward to make sure that this type of thing doesn't happen again.
It wasn't all doom and gloom. I think there was some positives to take away, and I know we've been a little doom and gloom about the Giants on this show, but Logan Webb, he showed that he could be a top of the rotation guy. Camilo Duvall showed that he could be a premium closer in baseball. I know September was a little rough for him at times, but he had a spectacular season, and he was an all-star. There were some positives. What other positives did you take away from the Giants in 2023, George?
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, you had guys earlier in the season. The rookies are a huge positive. You saw some guys in Patrick Bailey who has emerged and done such a great job with the pitching staff. Logan Webb accomplished his goal of leading the league in innings and being a guy who set a very good standard of what is expected from a Giant starter. And that is something that you need to feed off of. I mean, when he was talking about it in his meetings with the media, he said that there's an expectation that you need to come in here and try and win every day. It's not like we need to hope we can win. Our expectation is to go in and win every day over the course of 162 games. So there are definitely some really good positives. Mm-hmm. The Rogers brothers did a great job this year. The bullpen, for the most part, did great. And I think that you have some pieces, if you can get a few more bona fide starters, that makes that bullpen really deep from the 6th inning on. Yeah,
no doubt about it. What's the offseason look like for you, George? What are you up to? Are you going back to Chicago? What's going on with you?
Well, it's an 82-degree day in Chicago, and I'm standing over a 30-foot putt right now thinking about how you would putt it, Bonte.
Oh, boy.
I wouldn't do that.
By the way, George,
I wouldn't
you
do
wouldn't
that
believe
if I
this.
was
You
you.
can ask Kalina. I swear to you. I made a birdie for us on the putt. I swear. I forget what's
Yeah, was it a tap in?
Man, it was the only shot I had.
Did you kick it in with your foot?
No, I didn't. I couldn't believe I made it, man. Alec Kalina was like, oh, my
Wait,
God.
no,
I even got a high five.
All right, hey.
Hey, I'll tell you what, though, for the first 5 holes, though, man, you were doing some groundskeeping.
I was. It was terrible.
My boy's getting an invoice for some clippings.
It was rough.
Who has more hope? The 2024 Giants or Bonte Hill's golf game?
Honestly, the 2024 Giants have way more hope. Better get some lessons and hit the range, baby.
Hey, an undisclosed person said to me the other day, which was a funny joke, Bonte might want to just try pickleball.
I wonder who that person was. Joe Shasky. No, George, that was rough, man. It was good, but it was good to see you, Kalina. You guys did a great job, man, on that golf course. George is no joke on the golf course, man, and he's no joke when it comes to television, man. You did a hell of a job. I can't wait to see what you do next season on Giants Pre- and Post Game Live. Thanks for always joining us, George. Have a good offseason.
Thank you, fellas. We'll chat soon, and thanks for having me.
See you, buddy.
Absolutely. George,
All right.
man, the drip is who